Now, what was your grandpa? What was your full name and why were you named that?
What was my what?
What is your full name and why were you named that? Did you
Well,
have a nickname growing up?
the surname is Aldridge, Aldridge. The given name is Philip, and the middle name is Elzia, E-L-Z-I-A. I don't know why my parents gave me those first and middle name.
Did you have a nickname growing up?
Say what?
You have to speak loud, but real.
Did you have a nickname growing up?
Phil. P-H-I-L.
What were the full names, dates of your birth,
October 16th, 1932.
and places of your birth of your parents and grandparents?
Say that again.
Where were you born?
Oh, in Jacksonville, Florida, Duval County.
At the hospital or at home?
At the hospital, at St. Vincent, St. Luke's Hospital.
Who are your parents?
Who were your parents and where were they born?
They were both born in Georgia in Pierce County.
The names.
What were their names?
My dad's name was Spencer Martin Aldridge. My mother's name was Jessie Kate Worth, W-O-R-T-H.
Okay. Hey, where were your grandparents born?
My grandfather Aldridge was born in Pierce County, Georgia. My grandmother Aldridge was born in Ware County, Georgia. My grandfather Worth was born in Manatee County, Florida, and his wife was born also in Pierce County, Georgia.
Okay. What were their names?
My granddad's name, my granddad Aldrich was named Clarence Clarence Aldridge. His wife was named Rachel Lee, L-E-E. On my grandfather Worth's side, he was named John Barry Ann Worth. His wife was Florence Lenora Williams.
What do you remember most about your mother?
Oh, she was a good mother and a good cook.
What were the occupations of your parents?
When I was born,
What occupations did they have ever?
he was a milk truck driver. He was a farmer, and he drove a bread delivery truck, and he ran a small business. My mother never worked much out of the home. She was basically a housewife.
What was the small business he ran?
He had a little mercantile business he ran out of his car.
What do you remember most about your mother?
Well, she was very cautious and looked after me made sure I was safe.
What do you remember most about your father?
I think he was a loving father too.
Okay. What do you remember most about your grandparents?
Well, my grandfather Aldridge was a little short man. He looked a little bit like Jiggs in the comic strip of a number of years back. My grandmother, Aldridge, she had very dark hair. And my grandmother, Worth, she was a little gray-headed lady. My grandfather, Worth, probably the thing I remember most about him was he had a big mustache.
Are there any other family members you particularly remember? What makes them stand out in your mind?
I remember all of them.
What makes them stand out in your mind?
Sorry?
What makes them stand out in your mind?
I have a good memory. But on my dad's side, Uncle Aldridge was a preacher. I remember Aunt Eliza, she had about 6 children. I remember Uncle Wilbur, he had a household of kids too. He had six or so kids. Uncle Pierce, he had no children. He married Aunt Mary. She had red hair too. Granddad had red hair. Granddad Aldridge had red hair. Uncle Joe, Alvin, I remember them. And on my mother's side, Uncle Ira, he was a tall, slim guy. Probably had some Indian, I think he had some Indian ancestry. And then there was Uncle Floyd, who got killed in a strike where his car was hit. The truck was hit by a train. Uncle Tracy, he was a big man, not that big, I guess, but a pretty good sized man with gray hair and even Elle, she was a shorter woman.
What are the earliest memories about your first home?
I'm sorry?
What are the earliest memories about your first home? What other homes and places, what about other homes and places you lived?
Well, we lived on a house at the dairy when mother and dad lived in Jacksonville, and I was with them. This was a little white house. Initially, it did not have running water. We had to walk down to the artesian well. Or they did. I was too little then. They'd walk down to the artesian well and bring the water back in a bucket. Later we got running water. And we didn't have electricity when we first moved there, but over the period of time we got electricity to it.
What about other places you lived?
Oh, well, we moved up, Dad had bought a farm up near Waycross, Georgia. And we moved up there in November of 1942. That place did not have electricity when we got there. Dad was able to get enough electrical wiring locally, and he and my uncle Albert wired the house, and we were then able to get electricity.
Okay. What do you remember most about your childhood?
Well, I was an only child, so I had to entertain myself.
How did you entertain yourself?
Yeah, how did you entertain yourself?
Chasing grasshoppers.
Okay.
Among other things.
Where did you grow up?
Well, I was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and we moved from there. It was out in the county, away from the city. There, so we were 10 years old, and we moved up to South Georgia on the farm. So we lived on the farm until I graduated from high school.
Okay. What was your neighborhood like?
Well, it was just a few farms scattered around. It wasn't exactly a neighborhood. It was a farming area. There were small farms. And one of our neighbors was Clint Thomas. Another one was Charlie Howell.
Okay.
And but there were farms that were not huge farms, but they were probably 40 to 100-acre farms.
Cool. Okay. Did you have any pets when you were a child?
Is that what?
Did you have any pets when you were a
Yes.
child?
I had Poochie. Poochie was a dog. But Poochie got killed. So apparently somebody poisoned him. And he died. And then after that I had some ducks. My mother and dad bought me some ducks. I had ducks.
What did you feed them?
What did you feed them?
Whatever, they were yard ducks. They ate around the yard with the chickens and what have you.
What did you feed your dog?
I didn't feed him.
Ever?
Again, he ate whatever he could catch. Actually, Mother and Dad probably did feed him, and I don't know what they fed him.
Okay. What did your family do for fun when you were a kid?
Say that again, I didn't understand it.
Okay. What did your family do for fun when you were a kid?
Well, when we were around Jacksonville, Dad liked to fish. He'd like to go down to the river to the St. John's Bluff and fish. And for vacations, we didn't spend money for vacations. We'd go up and spend the week with my grandmother and granddad on their farm.
Okay.
They were not people that looked to have fun.
Okay. What were your favorite toys as a kid?
Family toys.
What were your favorite toys as a kid?
I had tinker toys. I
Cool.
could, put them together and build things out of them. I also had a little set of blocks. It was not very large. I remember I had a teddy bear.
Cool. Okay. What games did you play?
What?
What games did you play?
I don't know.
Okay. What kind of chores did you do as a kid?
Chores.
Oh, chores. Well, I had to feed the cows, pigs.
Okay. Did you get an allowance?
No.
Okay. What kind of books did you like to read?
Say what?
What kind of books did you like to read?
Now?
Then and now.
Uh, I'm not sure I did any reading to speak of then. I remember in school reading Ivanhoe. And of course now I like to read biographies.
When did you go to grammar school, high school, and college?
Well now, first school I went to was at Arlington. And then after a short while there, they built a new school, Hogan Spring Glen. Those are all in Duval County. And I was there through the fourth grade, and then, not through the fourth grade, but into the fourth grade. The fourth grade, we moved up to Waycross in the country, and I went to Cavalry Elementary School. And then after the fifth grade, I was sent to Hoboken. And Hoboken, I finished high school there. Then I went to a business college, Massey Business College in Jacksonville. And then I went to the University of Georgia. After graduating there, I moved to Atlanta. And I said at Emory University. Later, I went back to the University of Georgia again.
What degrees did you get from those schools?
What degrees did you get from those schools?
What did I get?
Yeah, what degrees?
Oh, Bachelor of Business Administration and the Master of Business Administration.
From Georgia?
The University of Georgia. And a JD, the Doctor of Jurisprudence, from Emory University in Atlanta.
Who was your best friend as a kid, as a child?
Did you have a best friend as a kid?
I probably had two of them. My best friend was my first cousin, Ray McDonald. He lived with my granddad, grandmother, for several years in there. And then also had another friend, Robert Hagan.
Okay.
We was all three were in the same class.
Who is your best friend in high school?
The same thing, same amount of names.
Okay. What was your first job?
First work I did was working at tobacco, gathering tobacco from the field and putting it in the barns.
Okay. How much money did you make?
$2 a day.
What jobs have you had?
What other jobs have you had?
Oh, I had all kinds of jobs. When I graduated from the University of Georgia, I had a degree in accounting. Then became an accountant. And then later I practiced law. And then later I went to work with the government, worked for government, federal government.
How did you decide on a career? How did you decide on a career?
I probably was pushed into it by economic circumstances.
Okay.
Needed a job and needed to make some money.
You didn't want to pull tobacco your whole life? Why not?
It's hard work.
Were there any subjects you particularly liked or disliked? Why?
I loved geography and history. And I'm not sure there's any that I really dislike that much. Probably English was most difficult.
Were you involved in any school sports or clubs?
Oh, yeah. Future Farmers of America.
Okay. Did you receive any special awards?
In high school, I was the second, the salutatorian in my class.
What did you do after high school?
Well, I went to the business school, and then I went in the United States Air Force.
Okay. What was your first car?
First what?
First car.
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 Oh, driving. Oh, it's a 1955 Ford.
Okay. What did you pay for it?
About $1,500.
Wow. How did you pay for it?
Cash.
Okay. Did you ever do anything naughty or mischievous?
Not me.
Okay. Did you serve in the armed forces?
Yes.
What
3
branch?
years, 11 months, and 12 days in the Air Force.
Okay.
And I was also in the reserves.
Okay. Where?
San Antonio, Texas, Denver, Colorado, Alexandria, Louisiana, California, Korea, Kimpo in Korea, was at Kadena in Okinawa, then back to Seoul, headquarters for Eastern Air Forces at Seoul in Tokyo.
Okay. What rank?
Airman first class. Did have the staff sergeant in the reserve.
Wow. Did you ever fight in a wartime battle?
No,
Okay. What was your favorite book?
I don't think I had one.
Okay. What was your favorite movie?
Gone with the Wind.
Okay. What was your favorite song?
I'm not sure I had a favorite song either.
Okay.
Of course, I'm not sure I had a favorite song.
Did you remember the first time you saw a television, car, plane, and refrigerator?
Do you remember when you first saw a television?
Yeah, in Jacksonville.
Okay. Car?
When did your family first get a television?
Well, I was in college when we first got it, first TV.
Okay. Do you remember the first time you saw a car?
Do you remember the first time you saw a car?
Oh, no.
Okay.
They had cars before I was born.
Do you remember the first time you saw a plane?
No.
Okay. Do you remember the first time you saw a refrigerator?
No.
Okay. How did you wash your clothes? How did you wash clothes?
Say what?
How did you wash clothes?
In a tub. Before they had, my mother and father had, before they got a washing machine, galvanized tub. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Okay.
We did not have one. We used an ice box. An ice box was an insulated box, wooden box, that the iceman would come every couple of days and deliver ice. We'd put it in the box, and of course it would melt. But we'd use it for things like iced tea and to keep milk cold and what have you. Then
It was a big block of ice?
25 pounds or so.
How did you get little pieces?
Well, you'd have to chip it off.
With
An
what?
Ice pick.
With
Chip it off with ice picks. Then sometime in the early days of World War II, Dad bought a refrigerator. One of the sailors apparently was being shipped out of town. He had a refrigerator that he did not want to take with him, so he sold it, and Dad bought a used refrigerator.
okay. How did you dry your clothes?
You hang them on a line in the yard, and they would evaporate dry,
Okay.
flapping in the wind.
Okay. How do you remember your family discussing world events and politics?
Very little. Very little. The first election I remember was the 1940 presidential election. The reason I remember it is somebody put a sign up pretty much in front of our house, kind of on the side. Small sign for Wendell Wilkie. Somebody tore it down. It
Okay.
was laying in the weeds. Then, of course, I remember the 1944 presidential election when Roosevelt and Thomas Dewey were running for president.
Who did your parents vote for?
I'm sure they voted for Roosevelt, but I'm not positive.
Okay. Okay. How would you describe yourself politically?
Politically?
Yeah.
Poetically?
Politically. Or poetically, politically.
Well, I would consider myself as a conservative Republican.
Okay. Okay. What activities have you really enjoyed as an adult?
What?
Activities.
Well, I think probably I had to work very hard to make a living, but I think two things that I like is one is traveling, and the other one is genealogy, history of family histories.
Okay. What are your hobbies?
The same,
Mm,
traveling and genealogy.
okay. What were some amazing things that have happened to you?
I have to think about that sometimes while I'm not sure.
Okay. Mm. Have you met any famous people?
Have you met
Any famous people?
Oh, I can't think of any. I'm sure I have. I remember one time Art Linkletter. I went to a speech by Art, and he autographed a program for us.
Okay.
I remember, I guess that's about it.
Okay. What organizations or groups have you been a member of?
The Republican Party.
Okay. Have you won any special awards or prizes as an adult? What were they for?
I won several awards when I was with HUD, Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Okay.
I can't recall the name, but Employee of the Year in my office, things of that sort.
Okay. What is the most beautiful place you have ever visited, and what was it like?
Most beautiful place I've ever been.
Yeah.
Well, that's a hard one. The mountains of Colorado were very pretty. The mountains of North Georgia.
Okay.
I think probably one of the most exciting places is when in 1952 I was in the Air Force and was coming home on leave. They caught a train from Denver, Colorado down to Waycross. And woke up the last morning and we were traveling on the train through North Georgia, the small mountains in North Georgia. I thought that was very, very beautiful, very impressive.
Okay.
Another one is the Keys. The Keys going down to Key West.
Okay. What is the longest trip that you have ever gone on? Where did you go?
The longest trip was from San Francisco to Yokohama, Japan.
Okay. What states have you visited? What countries have you visited?
I've been to Canada, Japan, Korea.
Okay.
I've been on a few of the Caribbean islands, but I'm not sure what they're called.
Which states have you been to?
I've been to all of the continental states, all 49 of the 49 continental states in Alaska. I've not been to Hawaii.
Okay. Is there anything you have always wanted to do but haven't?
Go to Europe. Go to England, particularly.
Okay. What are your favorite family recipes? How do we get them?
Favorite one?
Recipes. What were the favorite things that your mom used to make you?
Well, she made good fried chicken. She made good cornbread stuffing. Of course, my favorite recipes other than hers are probably Linda's a good cook too. She does some good things. But in addition, the Cajun dishes in South Louisiana.
Okay.
Crawfish etouffee, jambalaya, gumbo, Cajun food.
Okay. What is something you in your life you are very proud of that no one knows you did?
We're proud of doing.
Yeah.
Probably going to college and getting a law degree and getting admitted to the bar.
Okay. I'm gonna go back to one question. What are some amazing things that have happened to you?
That I graduated from college. Particularly that I graduated from law school.
Okay, and that is it.
Tell us about some places you've lived as an adult. Even if you just lived there, working there for a few months.
Well, I had part-time jobs in Jacksonville, Florida, which is a very good city. When I was in business school, then I enlisted in the Air Force. I was in San Antonio, Texas, for basic training. Then I was in Denver, Colorado, for technical school. Then went to Alexandria, Louisiana, down in central Louisiana. And then went overseas, went to California, Parks Air Force Base, California. And then ship docked in Yokohama. Spent the night, one night at Higashi Fushu in a processing station. Then we went up to Daegu, caught a plane up to Daegu, Korea, and was there about a week, and then shipped to Kempo Air Force Base. It was out near Seoul, went into Seoul a few times. And then shipped to Okinawa. I was on Okinawa for a short time, and was in Naha, Okinawa, then I shipped back to Japan, to Korea, and then back to Japan. I was over in Tokyo for the better part of a year. Then I came back to, put me on a ship and sent me back to California, and I got released from active duty at Parks Air Force Base. Off the train across the country to Jacksonville, Florida. And then in a short time I stayed with Mother and Dad in Waycross. Then I went to college. I went to the University of Georgia in Athens. And from Athens, then I went and lived in Atlanta for several years. Was back in Athens for a couple of years, and then I lived in Washington, D.C. about a year. Back to Georgia. I can't recall all the places I traveled to, but was in such places as Fort Worth, Texas, Lubbock, Texas, North Carolina, Charlotte, then I worked, I was transferred to Miami, Florida. Lived there, and I remember going to Boston a few times. Hartford, Connecticut early on when I was with the Hartford Fire Insurance Company.
Did you work in Las Vegas?
Oh yeah, I worked in Las Vegas about 3 months one time. Then Linda and I kind of lived in North Carolina for between North Carolina and Waycross for a couple of years.
Anything else you want us to know?
I didn't want to tell you all this. No, nothing to be ashamed about. Any more questions?
No more questions.